Hey everybody, this is Scott Bowman. I am the creator behind Idea Brickworks, and this is the brick building together apart. What episode is this, Sam? 4?
4. Episode 4.
So again, this is Sam Jones is joining me from England, my producer and extraordinaire. And also today's guest is Joe Chambers. So I will let Joe tell you a little bit about himself.
Oh, I wasn't expecting that.
No one expects the Spanish Inquisition.
Yeah. My name's Joe Chambers. I'm here in Lake Point, Utah. It's near Salt Lake City. Let's see. I'm an electrical engineer. I don't know. What else do you want to know about me? I kind of just started getting into Lego a couple years ago as I was working through my electrical engineering degree. I got back into Lego.
Do, right?
What was that?
Because you needed more to do.
No, it was more like there's nothing more mind-numbing than learning about differential equations or integrals or linear algebra, and I just needed something. I just needed something creative, and the Saturn V model had just come out, and I'm like, yeah, I need something to do, something to work with my hands, and so I got that, and then started modifying and creating my own things, and realized, oh, I don't have to follow the instructions. I'm an adult. You can't tell me what to do. But yeah, I'm here in Lake Point, Utah. I live with my wife and my son Clark, who is a budding space and Lego enthusiast like his dad, and hopefully I can brainwash him into being an engineer.
It's funny that you bring him up.
Oh no. Why? Oh no.
There are some lovely pictures of Clark.
Oh. Yep.
So I follow Joe on Facebook, and like any dolting parent, he likes to include pictures of his son, and I particularly like these two. So I love that the Saturn V is still taller than he is, which is just cute as all can be. Anyway, I love these two pictures. So
oh, thanks.
Keep them coming. I love
okay.
Those, so.
Oh, well. Now, if he ever starts playing drums, that's when I'll have a problem.
You know, I had a daughter that did percussion, and so we had a drum set in the basement. And
all right.
Luckily, she didn't like to practice the drums all that much. So luckily, she did most of that at school. But then she got really into marimba, which is a percussion instrument if you're in band. And we had a full-size marimba in would have been our living room. So, and that was Abby's. I don't know, for some reason that wasn't as irritating. You know, it was kind of a nice sound. It was a nice wood.
Yeah.
Marimba, but it was huge.
Well, that was a joke because I played I played cello, I played electric guitar, I played bass. I was in several bands going through high school and college. The first time I went through college. So that's a joke, not to harass anyone.
Uh-huh. Okay, so if you haven't been on our show or seen our show, the format is minuscule at best. the idea is that we're building together, and so it's just a conversation. I have a few things queued up, and the difference between what I'm doing and others is I like to get a guest that will focus and bolt on, and make him do most of the talking. So what I'm doing today, and we'll each kind of talk about it, is I am going to build Boone Langston's BrickLink custom kit. So last year, I think it was 2019, was the 60th anniversary of the brick, and BrickLink and Lego went together and had a contest, and Boone Langston, yes, that Boone Langston from Lego Masters, submitted, and his got a lot of votes. I picked this up, I think last year, maybe in June, because my local, I didn't get it when it first came out, but it was probably 2018. Now that I say that. Anyway, my local Bricks and Mayfig carried quite a few of them. And so I had sold them a bunch of brick that I don't use used brick. So often when I get it, I sell it back, and then I usually buy kits that I can part out, that kind of stuff. So, but I saw this one. So this is going to be my build today. So what are you doing, Sam?
Well, today I'm doing a little bit of my own thing. I'm going to be building my something I've designed myself. And the easiest way to show you what it is if I've designed a Speedworks style, Speed Champion style Bentley Continental GT3 race car. So it's from a series that me and Scott worked on in GT World Challenge America. They've also raced in Europe. One of my favorite cars. So I thought, well, why not make it into a Lego model? So I will be attempting to build that because I have the brick here from BrickLink, and I have no instructions, so I'm just going to go with it and just see what happens.
Hey, look at this, guys. This was the sleeve.
That's awesome.
Inside the sleeve would be like a classic front of a fire station.
Very
I don't
cool.
normally save boxes, but I'm probably going to be saving this. So
that's nice.
What are you doing, Joe?
Well, okay, so this is my LUT design. This is
what's LUT stand for?
Launch Umbilical Tower. It was they built 3 of them for the Apollo program, specifically to launch the Saturn V. They modified 2 of them to be the mobile launchers for the space shuttle. And now I think they've completely gotten rid of them for the SLS. I think they're not using any parts of it. So this is actually, you can see the title block I made for it, Apollo 13. So this is a reproduction of the Apollo 13 spacecraft in LUT. But this is the second one I built. So the first one is right here. It was for Skylab, and so I moved over the summer, and the Skylab LUT did not survive the move very well. And since I did a couple huge redesigns, I decided to kind of take it apart and put it back together, kind of bring it up to the new quote-unquote standard. And so that's what I'm doing right now is I'm taking things apart, and I'll be putting a few parts of it back together here. If you're really that excited to see me put things together.
Well, we'll just reverse the film after.
I'm taking this apart, and I'm like, wow, I really was a novice back then. Like, I've grown so much in the past 2.5 years.
It's amazing, and I think I've told you before, I've redesigned my Saturn V like 5 times now.
Now, are you talking about your little mini kit or your 12-foot tall one?
The 12-foot tall one, the 34,000 brick.
Wow. Yeah, maybe someday I'll get into it.
So look at the, they numbered the bags, but they actually have, instead of Lego where they just have 4 bags, they got 4A, 3C. 1,200 brick is still a lot of brick.
Looks like what's the word I'm looking for? It looks very boutique.
Yeah. Well, it's got the ideas box, right? Black, the good presentation. It's got it's flat black, but it's got these nice. It's very hard to see on the camera, I'm sure, but it says brick link on it, and it's got brick in it. Interesting too. Here's the exclusive element: is a Technic brick 2x4 with 3 axle holes, and it's got the 60 years logo on it. Look at these knobby tires. I love them. This is great fun. I don't know if you guys are having fun. I'm having fun.
I put so much time and work into this design. I sometimes I'm actually not having fun, and it's weird. But I am having fun right now. Sorry. Let me clarify that.
One of our regular viewers has turned in. My cousin Luke says hello to everyone.
Hi, Luke.
Hi, Luke.
Where is Luke located?
Oh, now, this is bearing in mind, if I remember correctly, they are in Haywards Heath, which is in East Sussex, down near the south coast of England. So, south of London.
Okay.
Near the sea.
Down by the sea, where the watermelon grows.
Hey, the closest body of water to me is the Great Salt Lake, and I don't know if you've ever been swimming in it.
No.
My advice to that is don't.
I really someday I want to go down for, what do they call it? Speed Week?
Down to what?
Speed Week, when they do the land speed record.
Okay.
Oh yes, yeah.
I think they call it Speed Week, or
yeah, I think it is Speed Week. Yeah.
But I hear that you no matter what, everything, because I have several friends that have done it or actually crewed on cars that were running, and like after you're done, you just everything tastes salty. You're just covered in salt. It's because it's hotter than all get out. So here's the program, and these were the finalists. And so, of course, here's Boone with his fire engine. But then also, and I did not pick this up, and I should have, The Isle of Peril by Jake Sedovich. And Jake is in the Idaho Lug. He's here in Boise, and he did the Ship in the Bottle. So that was his design that won in the ideas set. So, a little local history. Of course, they didn't tell me if I should open every #1 bag or if I should, what's,
one at a time.
Tell you what bag to open.
So, Scott, can I show you my? Sorry, give me a second. Can I show you my latest project?
Sure.
You might like. How do I? Okay, there we go. Share screen.
Once you share your screen, then Samurai can add it to the.
Okay. Is that working?
It's not coming up just yet.
Huh.
We'll see it in the studio.
Okay, how about that?
There it is. Yes. Yeah. There you go, Scott. Oh, look at that.
Oh,
Oh, I love that.
That is a 1:73 scale Skylab for you, Scott.
I saw that on Bricks in Space. I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, now you have a stand.
Yeah, I'll see if it works. I have all the parts on order. Yeah, all these details up front were kind of hard to. It's kind of hard to really reproduce what Skylab looks like, because it's hard to find some real clear pictures of this front area. But I'm doing the best I can.
Yeah, no. Oh, I love I call them trailer hitches that you used.
Yeah.
Here's some renders I thought I'd show. I just grabbed those from Facebook.
Yeah, those are first draft.
Oh, okay.
Very cool.
Good.
Changed a lot since then.
Yeah, so what's your plan? Are you going to sell instructions?
Please.
Cheese. I just love cheese. That's what you look like, Sam.
Whether or not I make instructions is a foregone conclusion. I'm already 90% done with the instructions.
Go figure, right? Yeah.
Whether I sell them or not, I'm still having a hard time with this concept of selling instructions. I mean, this I can justify because that took hundreds of hours.
Right.
But yeah, we'll see. It'll either be available free or yeah. This time I'm gonna wait till after I build the first one to even give out the instructions.
And just to be clear, that's in Saturn V scale, in ideas scale.
No, it's not.
Oh, what scale would it be then?
That's 1:73. This is in the 1:110.
Okay.
So this is actually to scale with the Saturn V. That one, what I did was I actually started. With the S2 stage of the Saturn V. So it's this size.
Okay. So you wanted to be able to put more detail.
What was that?
You wanted to be able to put more detail.
Yeah, and I was playing around with the idea of doing a minifig scale Skylab, just because I weirdly love Skylab.
Yeah,
You can't tell.
can't tell.
But I just playing around with it, I was like, oh, that's way too big. I don't have time for this one. How would I have time for that one? Anyway, yeah, that project I'm really excited about. It was also, I was joking with my wife and I'm like, no, seriously, I just had this idea. And then a couple days later, I found I had accidentally got it 80% done.
I love that. That was your post too.
Yeah.
I accidentally stayed up until 5 o'clock in the morning, whatever.
Well, when you have adult ADD, you tend to do that sometimes.
It's funny. If I get, I call it kind of it's kind of you get into a creative mode. And like if I'm designing a kit or if I'm doing the instructions for some kits, every so often then I just get to the point where it's like you said, time just kind of disappears, and all of a sudden you look up and it's like, 3 hours later, and it's like, I didn't intend to do that, but I got a lot done.
And in the grand scheme of things, I didn't get anything done.
But the personal satisfaction that you gained, immeasurable.
Yeah. No, it's. I'm glad I got back into Lego. I mean, obviously, growing up, like everyone, I had Legos. I played with them a lot. I never liked minifigs. I never liked building things in minifig scale. I would always build fleets of starships, and people, my sisters would try to put a minifig on there. I'm like, no. That thing is 1,000 meters long. Don't. That's not. So, I'm really happy. 20 years later, 20 years after I last played with Legos, I suddenly got back into it, and it's been really relaxing and very fulfilling.
And you meet nice folks.
Oh, you do? I mean, you do. So, Scott, why don't you, do you remember how we met?
We met because you were bringing your Skylab build and were interested in doing a presentation at Brick Slopes. And so I can't remember who at Brick Slopes connected us. So I met you in email first.
Yeah.
And we communicated a little bit. And then it was at Brick Slopes. Am I close?
Yeah, no, that sounds about right.
So we did a presentation. I do a kind of a STEM presentation on how we went to the moon, because too many kids think we went on the space shuttle, which we didn't.
That's offensive. No.
Isn't it? It's just
no.
So here's an interesting story. So when I was doing STEM Moonshot, I got interviewed by a young woman, local newscaster for a local TV station that did a lot of promotion for the STEM Action Center, which is an organization that for Idaho that really does some great work, besides funding a certain project that I did. And so she came in and saw the studio, and we were talking, and then she started to do a Facebook Live, and I was talking about going to the moon, and I said something to the effect that, too many people think we went to the moon with the space shuttle. And all of a sudden she looked at me so sheepish and said, I thought we did. So I launched into my first, instructional video on how we went to the moon. And of course I grabbed the Saturn V ideas kit to do that. So anyway, there's at least one young woman that will teach her kids how we really went to the moon.
Oh.
And you saw how I teach kids. I get them to hold it, and
yep.
It's a lot of fun. I can joke with them, and my first complaint on these instructions is the color rendition is not very good. It looks like a purple Technic, which I don't think I've ever seen made, but it's really a blue.
Huh.
And then it looks like a lime green, but it is a lime green. So
yeah, so trying to explain to people how we went to the moon with the Saturn V, that's one thing. But when I tell people I built this thing at Skylab, they go, what's Skylab?
Yep.
And that's the usual response. And my answer is, well, it's probably one of the coolest stories in U.S. spaceflight history that kind of just got eclipsed because it was so close to Apollo.
And frankly,
Hey, Scott, what was that?
And frankly, we learned so much in the Skylab program that got used later. I mean, it was phenomenal amount of information that we got.
Yeah, and just growing up, I just remember seeing pictures of Skylab, and I was like, "Oh, it's a space station," and it just looks so ugly. What is all this junk on it? And that's the coolest part of the story is all that junk on it was, oh, this was a disaster that we turned into a phenomenal success.
Yep.
By quick thinking and ingenuity and Skylab to me is the most Lego space program out there.
Because they took parts and stuff from the bin.
They took a Saturn V and they said, "Hey, this upper stage is big enough to be a space station. Let's turn it into a
space station."
And then they're like, "Well, how do we get to the crew to it? Let's just use the most Lego launch vehicle ever, the Saturn 1B," which is, they just took parts from a bunch of other rockets and made a heavy launch vehicle. So yeah, that's you can't tell I really like Skylab.
I'm guessing Sam doesn't know the whole story. I didn't really know the whole story until you told me. Why don't you talk about the disaster part?
Okay. Oh man, you just asked me to talk about something I love.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we'll grab this. So if you notice, this does not look like a normal Saturn V because, as I mentioned, they took the S4B stage and they literally made a space station out of the liquid hydrogen tank. And then the part you don't mention is that they use the liquid oxygen tank as a septic tank.
Because we don't like to talk about poop in the United States.
What would you call it in England? A refuse bin?
Yeah.
Okay. I tried. So,
water closet.
Right. So what they did was they took an S4B stage. They made the living quarters out of that much of it. I don't have it on this, but they strapped a what they call the Apollo telescope mount. So this was all folded up in the front. This was all folded up in the front, and then it swung forward when the what do we call that?
When the cowling came off?
Yeah, when the cowling came off. Okay, but here's where it ran into problems. What they did was they put a micrometeorite shield on the exterior of the station that once it got into orbit, it was supposed to kind of pop out a few inches. It's called a Whipple shield, where if a micrometeorite hits it, it vaporizes on the shield, but doesn't puncture the pressure vessel. So what happened was during launch, and unfortunately we don't have any video of this because it launched into clouds. But what happened, this little thing right here was a channel for wires and cables to go down the side of it. As it was breaking the sound barrier, air actually got into that. How do I explain this without getting too technical? Basically, something happened while they were launching, and the entire micrometeorite shield got torn off, just peeled off like a banana. And so what they knew that something had gone wrong immediately. They didn't know what it was. That thing peeling off actually caused a lot of other problems with the rocket. And one of those things was these right here are the solar panels that are supposed to swing out and open up. Skylab was supposed to have 2 of them.
Right.
And what happened was this one, they had both gotten loosened when the micrometeorite shield got ripped off. But this wing was just sticking out a little bit. And when the separation rockets fired on the Saturn V's upper stage, it blew off that wing and just completely ripped it off. So, and the other wing was stuck in place. So when they got up to Skylab, they didn't have a micrometeorite shield. One of the solar panels had been ripped off. The other one was stuck in place. And because the micrometeorite shield was being used as insulation, the temperature inside Skylab was getting up to, what was it, like 150 degrees Fahrenheit?
Ooh,
like it was cooking in there. And so Skylab 2, the first crew launched, and their first task was get the temperature livable in there. And so they created this device. It's kind of like an umbrella where they stuck it out this experiment window, and it unfurled or unfolded this this shield. Of course, it unfurled this kind of blanket insulation that was stuck. Let me see if I can find a good picture of it. And basically, that insulation just kept it cool. And then they unstuck
basically,
the other,
you know, because vacuum, it just had to reflect the radiant energy. That's my.
I don't know if you can see that.
It's not electricity, so you have a hard time with that. So
yeah, so that right there is the blanket that they kind of popped out.
Yeah. Ah, cool.
So Skylab 2, the first mission to go up to it, they repaired it. They stayed there for 2 or 3 weeks, 3 weeks. Came back to Earth, and then Skylab 3 and Skylab 4 went up there. 3 guys for each mission. They actually used. They got up there using Apollo spacecraft. So the Apollo Command and Service Module is what took them up there on a Saturn 1B. So that spacecraft right there. So yeah, it was just it could have been a disaster, and they turned it around. So that's one of the reasons why I like that story. Was that what you were looking for, Scott?
that was perfect.
But you've heard the tale of the Skylab mutiny, right?
Yes.
It's mostly not true, but it's a fun story anyway. Skylab 4 was an entirely rookie crew. None of them had ever been to space. And
that's not a good idea.
well, I mean, they were well trained. They were. At some point, you're going to have all rookie crews.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have to. You could.
Yeah, but for one reason or another, it was a misunderstanding that one of them was supposed to be listening to the radio at all times. They just got the schedule mixed up, and so for about half a day, no one was answering. And
Which the engineer in mission control.
Yeah, mission control was panicking, and they thought that it was because they were being overworked, and they were being overworked. So the media thought it was this mutiny, that they had turned off the radio because they were tired.
They're mad.
Yeah, they were mad. So my Flickr account, my name is Skylab Mutineer. It's a fun story, but it's mostly not true as far as like them doing it on purpose. Anyway.
No, I love that.
So, yeah, I just have a weird obsession with like the strange one-off missions, the, Skylab 1 and the Ares 1 launcher, or the Delta 4 that launched the Orion crew capsule. Just like these weird ones that never had a repeat.
So are you excited for the launch later this month with the first Dragon crewed?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
The first crewed Dragon.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Of course I'm excited.
Joe has a very dry sense of humor. I'm just saying.
No, Scott. I was telling one of my coworkers, now that I'm a dad, I'm allowed to have dad humor. And he's like, well, yeah, I noticed that about you. Anyway.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fun to see something from 39A that has a crew on it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the first launch from U.S. soil in how many years?
Crewed launch. Yeah.
Since 2011?
Be the last shuttle launch.
Yeah. I got to go see, wow. Yeah, that's when I was engaged to my wife, but I went to see the, is it Atlantis? The last Hubble service mission. I went and saw that launch. Down in Florida, and that was pretty
awesome.
Cool.
Never got to see one.
It was just incredible. We're 10 miles away and that shockwave hits you like in the chest. And you can feel it.
The closest I've ever come to that feeling was in 2010. And we went as a family to France and spent a week in a chateau in southern France, which is really cool, by the way. But then it happened to be on the weekend of the Formula One race at the old Magny-Cours course. And so the girls, my wife and two daughters, and a couple of the friends that we were there with went down to Collioure in the coast of France and had a great time. But I went to Magny-Cours with one of my wife's colleagues' father. And this was the V10 era. So what was that? Was that about 800, 900 horsepower era?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
And loud, really loud. And so we were on it was turn 2, but it's like where most of the passing is at Magny-Cours. And I can just remember off in the distance, we could see the starting grid, and they go from a standing start. And so you're watching on the video screen, and the lights start to count down, and all of a sudden, all the engines rev up. And these engines rev to 20,000 RPM. And the sound, I had earplugs in, and I could see it, and I could also see the heat waves in the air above, of course, it was all secluded by the stands, and a quarter a mile away, more than that, probably pretty close to a mile away. And then they launch, and it's like no noise I'd ever heard before. So I'm imagining it is a minor version of a space launch. Then they take turn one, and then they're screaming at, down the straightaway into turn two. They get to turn two, and then there's a two and then a three. And as they came around three, so remember, all 24 cars came down into turn two. They turn, they're slower, but then all 22 cars accelerate away. And it just, now I'm like 300 feet from 24 cars at 20,000 RPM.
Yep.
And just hammered us. And the after they went by, the dad had not wanted to put earplugs in, and I told him, I said, "You've got to have earplugs." After they went, he turned to me, and of course I couldn't hear him, and just said,
"You want earplugs?"
No, he had them in. I made him put them in. But it was just he suddenly he understood.
Gotcha. All right,
God,
Scott, what's that?
Cars. Oh, that's one of the I don't know what the official name is, but it's one of the pins that held the Saturn V onto.
Nope, that's what this is.
Oh, then what's the other one?
This is the tail service mast. So this was one of the arms that was attached to it, up until launch, and then it would fold up into this cowling here. I tried really hard to make that more realistic, but yeah. Okay, so here's a question I have. This is how crazy I am.
Okay.
So my latest version, which I'm done. I'm done modifying it. I'm done upgrading it. I'm done.
He said it here first, folks.
Yeah.
You said it a few times.
Yeah, my design process for this was not great. So I went through and because I started noticing as I was looking at pictures of all these Saturn V LUTs that there were differences in how the decks were arranged, the different pieces of equipment that each one had, and there were even the tower itself even had different colors. So I went through and made modifications. Like, the reason I can say this is Apollo 13 is because I have the deck arranged like the Apollo 13 LUT. It's colored as it's supposed to be, and et cetera, et cetera. But for Skylab and Apollo 15, here, I'll show you. For Apollo 13, the tail service mast, they were white. But for Skylab and Apollo 15, they were this weird rust brown color. And I have not been able to find from anyone the reason why they were colored differently. So I'm throwing it out there. If anyone knows, I would love to know.
Huh. I have a guess.
Okay.
My guess would be that the white was a paint, and that the paint was intended to protect the surface of the metal.
Mm-hmm. And that is true. That's not a guess.
But of course, it would tend to get burned off at every launch.
It burned off deliberately. That the paint that they used was designed to char.
Right.
It was designed to char and kind of expand to protect the metal. Yes.
But I wonder if they, because I would have used like a Core 10 steel or something that has a low coefficient of expansion and can withstand those higher temperatures. So I would think, and of course, Core 10, you don't really need to paint. I don't know that
yes.
you would even have to worry about that temperature for the length of time that it's going to be subjected to it. But that's just a guess. That would be a swag, a scientific wild ass guess.
Wild ass guess. Yep.
We do have a suggestion from someone watching. Smithy fan says it used to be white, but then it just rusted.
Smitty fan, that's Amber. Hi, Amber. Amber was on.
That's funny because yeah, it is a rust color. Like I would understand with Skylab because that was the last time they used that LUT and they were gonna disassemble it. That's the Apollo 15 that
Yeah, that's a good point.
kind of weird now.
Of course, no, because 16, it was 17 that got scrubbed.
No, 18 got scrubbed.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, except for the movie. They did it for the movie.
Oh my gosh.
Have you seen that movie, by the way?
No, I haven't.
No.
It is scarier than F*** UK. Oh my God. It's.
Did
Anyway.
you see what was the one a few years ago? Life?
Oh yeah, yeah. No, actually, that one I didn't see. That's the one that's got
Jake Gyllenhaal?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a pretty decent horror flick, but it also I don't know. Space station isn't that big.
Yeah.
I mean, Scott, that is my problem is when you're as let me ask you, as a fellow engineer, as a nerd, I mean, we can say that, right? We're all nerds here,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yep.
I watch Apollo 13 or The Martian, two of the most scientifically correct movies ever made. And I just go, well, they got that wrong.
Yeah.
They got that one wrong too. Oh. Like, my brother-in-law makes fun of me for that, but I'm like, no. You grew up with Dungeons and Dragons, and you would be mad if they got something wrong about that too, wouldn't you? I grew up with Apollo in the space shuttle program. And let me be clear, those don't ruin the movies for me at all. I just can't. What I'm saying is I can't turn off that part of my brain.
No, I agree. You just mentioned two that probably offend me the least. Another one that doesn't offend me as much is The Expanse. Have you watched that yet?
Oh, I actually love The Expanse because I read the books.
Oh, there are books?
Oh yeah, they're based off of a series of books.
Oh, I'm gonna have to look into that.
I highly recommend them.
But yeah, I mean, that's where, like, let's not even start about Armageddon. I still love that movie, but it's like Oh my God, did they get stuff wrong?
I hate that movie for this very reason.
Yeah, it's basically it's easier to count what they got right, which is really, really close to zero.
Well, do you know the story behind that movie?
No.
It's exactly what you think it is. The studio heard about Deep Impact, which had its own issues, but was by far the more realistic of the two movies. And they said, we have to come up with something that directly competes with that. And so they're like, who's an action producer that we can get to just pound this out real quick? Michael Bay.
Yeah.
And you know who wrote it?
Who wrote it?
J.J. Abrams.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Okay.
I don't like J.J. Abrams either.
But, you know, I just watched Deep Impact again, and it survives well. It still had a good, potent storyline.
See, that was the difference. Deep Impact was a science fiction humanity movie, human nature kind of movie. Whereas Armageddon was, let's make some things blow up that shouldn't blow up.
Well, it was really it was kind of like a B movie on a movie budget, right? It's something that if you really don't want to think about anything, you watch that movie, right? And it's just, well, I got a frame. It's a pretty good frame. Well put together.
Nice. Well, and be 100% honest, I'm not here to yuck your yum or make fun of you for liking something. To anyone out there who says they love Armageddon, I'm just saying I can't turn that part of my brain off. That's all I'm saying.
Well, let's not get started about Die Hard.
Whoa.
I know. Where are you going with that one?
Yeah. What's wrong with Die Hard?
Oh my God. Again, I enjoy the movie, but for a guy who designs friggin' buildings.
Oh, okay.
That's
again,
fine.
There is so much that never could friggin' happen that I just I love the one where, he goes through a duct. Well, let's talk about ductwork, folks. First of all,
let's talk about what?
Ductwork holds up, guess what? Air. So the only thing that when we strap ductwork into a building, it just has to hold the metal ductwork. There's no way a 100-pound, much less 200-pound person could ever crawl through the ductwork. Also, the inside of all ductwork has open sheet metal screws because it's never clean on the inside. It's always dirty as all get out, unless you clean your ductwork, which I highly recommend. And so they would have been filthy. They would have had a hard time breathing. There is no light in ductwork. So the cameras wouldn't work as far as seeing anything in them. So sorry.
That's why he had a lighter.
Yeah.
He had a lighter. Oh, Scott, this is the reason why I hang out with you. I just need to.
Oh, and the lighter to the sprinkler. Don't get me started on it. And then the whole floor going off. Oh my God. So we designed fire protection systems for as many as 4 sprinklers. That is how much you get, because a sprinkler system at the initial of a fire is intended to control the fire. Now, once the fire department connection and they come, they hook up their big ass pump that they carry on their truck, and they connect it.
Scott's
and
on a rampage.
They then overpressurize the system because they don't care about the system surviving, as they shouldn't. And just now any sprinkler can go. So
I'm here.
hi, Clark.
Hello.
Say hi.
Hi.
Hey, can you tell me whose rocket this is?
Happy.
Yeah, opportunity, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. See? Who's this?
It's Happy.
Yeah.
I like
See?
your shirt, Clark.
Hi. We're playing with your Lego, Daddy.
Yeah. I'm playing with my Legos and my friends who are also playing with Legos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, my wife needs me for a minute. I will be right back.
Okay.
You
All right,
entertain Sam.
What? Oh. Okay. Want to head out? Thanks for coming in and saying hi. Oh. Sorry about that. I have a hard time saying, you get out of here.
No, that's all right.
Yeah.
I think that's our youngest guest so far, though.
Oh, 3? Okay. Put that on the scorecard.
No, I'm building my Bentley here, and I'm noticing problems in my own build, and I'm correcting them as I go.
That's why you build it, because you can't always see if what's working in a studio actually works in real life.
Very true. And there was a point where I noticed I'd almost missed putting an entire plate down, and something would just fall apart, and I'm there going, well, whose idea was that?
It was your idea.
This is it. It is now. All my fault.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Yeah, the amount of problems. What was that?
I said it is looking good.
So did you say it's a Bentley?
Yes, the Bentley Continental GT3. I'll get you a picture.
Love it. Is that a modern car, or is it a?
Oh, it's very modern.
Okay, very modern.
And it's very fast.
Oh, very, very fast.
No, really?
Because it's got a really big motor.
You go.
Okay.
Bentley Continental GT3 race car. And here's the technical specs. A 4-liter direct injection twin turbo V8 engine. 550 brake horsepower when it's not restricted. It's just a little bit of a beast.
Just
how much? Tell them how much it weighs.
1,300 kilos. I don't know what that is for you in American money.
A lot.
Yeah. So
it's a 1.4 US tons. How's about that?
Which for a race car is a lot.
Yeah.
So it's very So for a race car, it's very heavy, but I bet you 75% of that is in the engine.
It's a big car too.
Okay.
It is. It's a lot longer and it's a little bit wider than normal race cars.
And if the Bentley hits something or somebody hits the Bentley,
You know about it.
the Bentley always wins.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think I've seen a time the Bentley's lost, to be honest.
Nope, not to contact.
No.
Well, I know a semi-truck driver who would beg to differ.
Well, yes, that's true.
Well,
I'm
yeah,
talking
yeah.
on a race course. Yes.
I'll bet you I could wreck it.
So I think,
Yes.
Joe, we've got to talk about your LUT.
Okay. That sounds like a wonderful idea. Oh,
So-
by the way, I am... Okay, sorry. Ask your question. I mean, go for it.
So here are some still pictures. And I guess talk about why you did that, what went into the design. That this is kind of a community effort in some ways. So tell me a little bit about that. How did you decide, and what was your thought processes?
Oh, thought processes. So last time I talked to you, we had Joe Meno on. And I wrote an article for him in Brick Journal that kind of went through it. And the phrase I used was brute force flailing. So as I was building this, I was just getting back into Lego. I didn't know anything about Bricklink. I didn't know anything about, bricks and minifigs. I didn't know what was available. And so I was doing a lot of learning as I decided to do this. I started out with Valerie Roche's design. I found her design online, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to reproduce this. I'm going to make some modifications because I really want to do the Skylab version. And as soon as I gave my brain permission to do modifications, things started going downhill pretty rapidly. We've already been joking around about like how obsessed I am with detail and getting things right. Once I started doing that, again, I just started looking at more and more pictures, just realizing I can't, okay, Val's design is amazing. And she was the first one to really put together one of these LUTs. But I don't want to put words into her mouth, but she was really trying to design it in such a way that Lego would pick it up and use it as a set. So
she put it in on the Lego Ideas platform.
Yep. And so a lot of it is, I don't want to use the word, it's a lot more simple by design, Mm-hmm. It's minimalistic. It's designed to be kind of it's a play set because the elevator works in it. You turn a knob and the crane turns. It was very well designed, but as I said before, I don't really care about minifigs. I don't really care about. To me, this is a modeling tool, and And I hate to sound like a stupid and boring engineer, but that's what it is to me. It's a modeling tool. And so, yeah, I collected parts to build hers. And if you look at this, I borrowed the mobile launcher, the lower section was borrowed heavily from her design. I would say it's 90% hers until I redid the design to something that suited my neuroses a little better. So it was just kind of basically an iterative process. I would get some levels of it done and go, no, I need to make it more detailed, and I would take those apart. Trying to build to scale is rough because the Lego Saturn V is not really to scale. It's to scale to a certain extent, and then it's not to scale, and then it's to scale again.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're talking. One of the things that you do at Lego conventions is what you're designed to limitations.
Yep. Designed to constraint. Yep.
Designed to constraint. So the constraint I've been given is all I can work with is Lego. So make it, I don't have to be mathematically correct every single time. Just make it look good. and so I would get to like level 15 and be like, the scale is slightly off. The service arms need to be here, here, and here on the rocket, which means I need to lower everything in just these levels. I need to lower by a plate. And so I would lower everything by a plate. So when I say brute force flailing, yeah, it was kind of a brute force process. Back then,
so you weren't designing online at that time? You weren't using a program at that point?
I was using LDD to help with a few things. And then someone at Bricks and Minifigs said, "Why are you using LDD? We have Studio now."
Haven't been doing it. Yeah, that's.
What was that?
Oh, just you haven't been doing this that long.
No, I haven't. Like, I'd say about a year ago was when I really started getting into designing this in studio. So the one you see right there, I called that version 2.0. Then I designed the thing I designed in studio. I called version 3.0. Because it made a lot of changes, and it was the next series.
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately, last year, fortunately, I graduated. Yeah, I went back to school to get my engineering degree through Arizona State University online. Don't regret it at all.
Now that you're done.
Now that I'm done, I don't regret it at all. But I got a job last year at Cache Valley Electric. I really like the company. It's great. But I had to move from Springville all the way up to Salt Lake. And as I was trying to finish the design, the instructions, and kind of release it and start selling it to people, I unfortunately did not have my LUT there to test things out. And so I had several builders out there, some new friends of mine, Max out in, he's going to kill me for forgetting this, Switzerland.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I've made a lot of friends in Europe through this. Not the least of which is Sam, of course. But yeah, they would build it, and I would do another revision of it. So I went through versions. I think my first release was version 3.2. So I went 3.2, 0.4, 0.5, 0.6. Then I made a huge change and went up to 4.0. And finally at 4.0, I built Apollo 13, which let me do version 4.1, where I just corrected everything. But I couldn't leave it alone then. Let me see. Do you want to maximize my screen so I can show you?
Yeah. Here we go.
Real quick. Okay. So this is the Apollo 13 one. Take note at the corners and right here. That's version 4.1. Here is version 4.3, really, but I added the pedestal stands.
Okay.
Now, yeah, so that's not just adding those. I had to make sure that it could actually hold the weight of the entire thing. I had to completely redesign the interior and the sides of the mobile launcher. So 4.3 was actually a really big overhaul. And of all the people who have bought this, or bought the instructions off of me, you can take my face off if you want. I had some really a lot of help from people who were building this as I was upgrading it. And I just really hope I'm not making anybody mad by going, "Hey guys, I got a new version."
Surprise!
Surprise! But I promise 4.3 is it. I'm not making any more changes to it. If someone finds an error, I'll change it. But this is it. 4.3 is done. So the point of that was, had I not been moving, had I not been trying to finish my senior design project after being hired full-time, I would have got this done a lot quicker. And the final iteration would have been done months ago. Oh, that ugly old crane. Ugh.
I wanted to show, because I took a couple of just kind of videos.
Okay.
And I love the level of detail that you did.
Thank you.
Talk about those little railing things. You said this at the last time we met.
Oh, the fences?
The fences.
It sounds like they're your best friend already.
Yeah, so those fence pieces in red, Lego doesn't make them anymore in red. You can find them in dark bluish gray, light bluish gray, white. You'll find them all over the place. But these suckers aren't made anymore. And I've been trying to find a way to make a railing that looks as good as that. Yeah, those things.
Yeah.
And there were 150 of them in my design.
Ouch.
Yeah. So they're not impossible to find. You just have to find them 5 to 10 at a time. If you can find new ones, that's amazing. You're so lucky.
Right.
So one of my usual drug suppliers, I mean the store I like to go to in Bricklink, they were selling these, and I think they were used for $6 a piece.
Oh,
yeah. Don't buy them at $6 a piece.
They saw you coming.
Oh, yeah. So you can get them. I mean, it ranges. Don't spend more than $1 for them, for crying out loud. You can get them 20 cents up to like 60 cents a piece. But again, my design has 150 of them or so.
Yeah.
I've even in the later revisions, I even tried as hard as I could to reduce the number of them by just like 10, and I was successful doing that. Yeah, here's the new crane. The old crane, Scott, I was very disappointed with and had so much trouble trying to upgrade it.
Yeah, it looks nice.
Anyway, so yeah, that's this. A lot of the LUT designs out there, and there are like 4 or 5 others. A lot of them actually use this piece. Some of them don't. But it seems to be like the single largest sticking point with people who want to do this project. Oh, besides the fact that you'll probably spend upwards of $1,500 getting parts for one of these.
I'm trying to be the slowest person to buy all the parts for the original Red Baron.
Okay.
So I have my wish. I culled what I had out of my collection, and then I have a wish list, but I'm not out actively or
okay.
But every time I order, if they happen to have anything, it comes up. So it should take me another year or so, and I'll probably have the. It's some really odd pieces that didn't go into very many sets.
So can I show you? Wait, the red. So the Fokker Tri-Wing.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
That original.
Yeah. That's right.
I got a set of stickers that were a fan produced, and they're nice. So I've got the stickers, but I don't have a few of the parts at this point.
So I have this bin right here.
Yeah.
This is for the top of Launch Complex 39.
Okay.
Yeah. As designed by Sam Bradford. He is on the Bricks in Space group a lot. I told him to show up today, so
he is here. He's in the comments.
Why don't you bring him in? Let's have him talk about his.
He didn't come into the. Why don't you invite him, Sam? Can you?
Yeah, I will do my best.
Yeah. Anyway, before he gets here, I have to sing his praise. He's been designing, the full LC-39 launch complex. And it's, I'm neurotic about my details. So is he. We've only ever chatted on Facebook, so I've never talked to him. Sorry to put you on the spot, Sam, and other Sam.
Great. Now we have 2 Sams. We had 2 Joes the other day. What's his last name again?
Bradford?
I think I need to invite him on this show. Because I have been watching his stuff. That's it is amazing.
Yeah. That is something that is pretty incredible that these 3D design programs have allowed people to do, is to create these things, even though you might not be able to build it.
Yeah.
and it's pretty incredible. I mean, along the lines of your STEM stuff, Scott. Just Lego Digital Design or Studio reminds me so much of working with programs like SolidWorks or AutoCAD, and it's a great way to be like, hey, you want to be an engineer, you want to be a modeler, you want to do that kind of stuff.
We have Sam Bradford here.
Oh no!
Hi, Sam.
It's
Hello.
Sam Bradford.
Welcome.
Yes, welcome on board. We have him or we don't.
I don't know. I think he might have slightly frozen on us.
Battery is really, really good at standing still.
Oh, we lost him.
I've just hidden him for now, just to
okay.
see if he comes back.
Anyway, but that's I don't know, Scott. That's something you might want to bring up someday. Is just like, you know, if you have fun with Studio, like, yeah, it's a great introduction into a whole lot of things.
And anymore, I think we use the term CAD a little incorrectly. I mean, it was CAD.
Yeah.
Now, what we're really doing are simulations.
Oh, really?
And if you think about CAD, even in the construction world, or even talk about SolidWorks, they're really simulating. And so much, SolidWorks can go right into a program that does stress analysis. That's simulation.
Yes.
Okay, did it work this time?
Yeah, he says he's back. There he is.
There he is.
I figured it out.
Okay, cool.
Welcome, Sam.
Hello.
Welcome to the stream.
Thank you.
So, would you be willing to be a guest on a show?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
That'd be fun.
Send me a here. I should do this. There.
The little banner.
We have banners for everything.
Let's connect. We'll come up with a
All
date.
right.
So I was just showing. I'm sure you saw, Sam, but I was just showing everyone the load of bricks that I had in preparation for LC39.
And that's not even 1% of the
Yeah,
whole thing.
I don't have that much room.
Yeah, neither do I. I don't even know if I'll ever build the thing.
You know what would be fun is, and this could be something we could talk about, but I've been able and successful to get quite a few community projects through Lego. So, like my STEM Moonshot, I had to procure for STEM Moonshot version 1, I procured almost 250,000 brick.
Oh, wow.
For the whole project. And then STEM Moonshot 2 was about 150 because we didn't have as many activities for that one. But the trick would be to figure out how we can get kids to help build, which I happen to be a fairly expert at because I do have a model that is in 1/32nd scale of the Saturn V that I have a full set of directions for. If you'd like that, it kind of beats Joe's 1,200 pages a little bit.
Yeah. How many have you been able to give away, though? How many other people have built that massive thing?
None.
Couple thousand if you consider contributions.
Well, true.
Contributions.
Oh, that's true. Okay.
Yeah, 3,000,
including me.
Did you help build it?
Yeah,
I helped build the Seattle one.
Okay.
There's a whole video on the YouTube channel of me building an entire section on my own.
Actually, it was kind of a rebuild.
Oh, no one pays attention to that.
Oh.
Am I right, Sam? Wasn't that the one that the team and the mentor just kind of totally lost control?
Yes, if I remember correctly, yeah. It was one that just went a little bit haywire.
Yikes.
Well, sorry. What were we talking about? I just had a brain fart.
STEM and building the 39A.
Yep.
Yeah.
How many pieces is it now, Mr. B?
It's currently 122,000, I think. Yeah.
Oh, that's huge.
Yeah, my computer's starting to lag pretty hard when I open the studio file.
Hey, I've got a suggestion for you because I've been doing some redesign, number 6 on the Saturn V. More as I have time.
Just leave it alone.
Just leave it alone, Scott. Don't do it.
But one thing I discovered is the Saturn V is designed in segments of 5 bricks, 5 brick lifts, and they all hold together so that I could have kids build that. They'd feed it into the center. But one of the things I discovered when, because I first designed it in Lego Digital Designer, which can't handle much more than, I don't know, 1,000 bricks, and it just totally bogs down. But what I did was I made each one a subassembly. And if you go to, don't go to edit, because edit of a subassembly includes like ghost of the whole build.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go to view, you only get the subassembly.
That's literally exactly what I'm doing right now to build the Bentley.
Yeah, the zoom, all of a sudden I noticed I could move things around. And then if I had to move, so if you think about now the rendering that it's doing, I was working on the base and it had 7 levels. I could move the base, the different pieces around much easier than if I was trying to, a bunch of kit. So anyway, that worked really well for me. So think about subassemblies, and then you can subassembly. And then if you want to go out and do something crazy like I did, you can export just that subassembly into a new file and make instructions for just that subassembly, so anyway, something to think about. It was something I just discovered a couple of weeks ago, and it's kind of changed the way I've thought about how I'm going to, because I am thinking about selling instructions for the Saturn V, so we'll see.
All right, I'll have to give that a shot.
List.
Yeah, give it a try. Because we know that Studio is so well documented on its features. And
Scott, I can never tell when you're being sarcastic.
Just like somebody else I know.
Eh? What?
You?
What? Dad joke? What? So, Sam Bradford.
Yes.
What is the dimensions of your full design?
Hang on, give me a second. Let me pull up the model info.
If you pull it up, are we going to lose you? Is your computer gonna?
No, the call's on my phone, separate
Okay.
from my computer.
Okay. Just for such
So
an occasion.
So in inches, it's 231 inches wide, 107 inches long, and 60 inches high. I believe it's around 8 feet wide and 15 or 20 feet long, maybe. Maybe that's a little oversized. It's massive.
Have you
Yeah,
thought
and-
about how you're going to move it once it gets built?
Oh yeah, I have from the get-go. I designed it in a grid in blocks, so it's not just one massive piece. But I mean, each individual section is still massive.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the part I'm building is only like the what, top 1%, where
Yeah,
LUT rests.
yeah. The NASA, from all the documents I've seen, they never gave a good term for the pillars or whatever the LUT sits on. They call it
Yeah.
like 4 different things.
I've just been calling
call
them the pillars, but
Yeah. Are you doing all the like launch structures around it too?
yeah. So like the
Okay.
I'm doing as soon as I get to it. Yeah, I'm doing the where all the umbilicals attach, like the ECS, like the ECS risers and all the things that attach to the side of it.
LO2, LH2, and all that
the
stuff.
O2, LH2. Yeah. This was the purchase that kind of made me laugh. I got 850 of these little guys.
Oh, grills.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the crawler way.
There's a lot of those.
Yeah. So I think Sam and I are actually gonna. I'm gonna try to help build or do instructions for at least the top of that area.
Yeah.
And kind of at least the part that people could take a bite out of and swallow instead of the whole thing.
Yeah, it's a little daunting of a challenge for one person to do all of it.
Yeah.
So, Mr. B, and I'm only using that because I've got 2 Sams. You are obviously a bit younger than the rest of us.
Yes.
And of course, all of you are younger than me.
God, didn't I tell you I am 67 years old?
Yeah, right.
Sorry.
Good try. What got you interested in Saturn V's, 39A, that whole thing?
Well, I have always been for the past 6 or 7 years, I've been a huge space nut. I wanted all of it and anything I could get my hands on. And then when I was in my first year of college, the Saturn V set came out, and I got my hands on it. And then after a couple weeks, I found what's now called the Bricks in Space Facebook page, which was originally only for modifying the Saturn V.
Yes.
Making it more accurate. And then I started working on the launch pad and the fixed service structure for the Falcon 9, which was like my first big project in studio. And then I was like, yeah, what the heck? I might as well do the entire pad. And that was a year ago. That's how I got started.
So in other words,
it's a
very
familiar
similar
story.
to mine.
Yeah.
It is a familiar story. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to point out that Sam and I fire back at each other a lot. Like, we've figured out that we have the same kind of neurotic need for detail. So I'm always like, Sam, how's the Skylab looking? And he's like, great. How's the ECS on this looking? And I'm like, good. Needs more detail.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So he's
So what are you studying in school?
I am a music major, which has nothing to do with engineering or any of that.
You know, you say that, but an awful lot of engineers are very interested and capable and talented in music. And I always use the quote that like half of the Iowa State band are engineering students. So I think music, and you know, it's interesting when I see, like, my kids were all in band and orchestra, and you know, were into music. And when they would have their senior day, and they'd all say where they're going, and you know, a good half of them were going into STEM fields, and the other half were going into the arts or, you know, some other endeavor. So I've got a ton of respect for music and its role in life in general, much less the technical.
So I do have a question for you, Sam.
All right.
You're doing, I mean, you're French horn, right? I mean,
yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now this is for everyone, but specifically you. My favorite bit of music in any soundtrack in any movie is in Apollo 13 during the launch sequence. We all know that one by heart, right, everyone?
Yep.
I'm thinking.
Okay, so during the first staging event, you know, it shows the scene of the S1C breaking off, and there's that that horn line. I want to say that those are French horns, but I don't know that for sure. You know exactly what I'm.
Mm-hmm. Yep, you're right.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I always thought those were French horns, but so that scene with that music is my favorite scene in movie history. Just period. Unless you're talking about that moment in Rogue One where the one Star Destroyer rams into the other one.
That's pretty good.
That's also really good.
It's a great moment.
I agree.
Well, I have some news.
Okay.
It's finished.
Hey!
You and your couple hundred pieces.
Let me tell you how many pieces it actually was.
Okay.
220.
Couple hundred?
Yeah, that's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's not entirely complete because it's still missing some parts that haven't arrived yet from Bricklink. But do you know what? I ain't proud of that. That actually looks really cool.
No, that's.
Yeah. I've got more of a frame. I'm spending like the whole first bag. I think I'm going to spend 2 hours making the frame.
If anybody from Bentley is watching this, you know, let's talk. Give me a shout.
So
What are you guys working on?
I am
Currently?
working on Boone Langston's fire engine from Bricklink.
All right.
and I'm working on redoing my Skylab LUT. Because
And I was working on my own designed Bentley, which I based on the Speed Champions sort of set.
Sweet.
Sam has just joined the AFOL ranks.
Official as well now, because I've joined a lug as well.
Oh, which lug did you find?
It's called Brick Central. It's called the Brick Central lug. It's based in, it's for members of the Midlands in the United Kingdom, but they take people from everywhere, which is nice.
Cool.
So I'm sorry. What is a lug?
Lego Users Group. You know
Oh,
this.
That sarcasm again gets me every time.
no, I'm not being sarcastic. I'm new to this, guys.
But you've got to be a member of ULUG.
I'm not.
Really?
No.
Quick, Scott, snap him up for the Idaho lug.
No way in hell I'm joining no Idaho lug. Those
Typical Utah.
Those dirty Idahoans. Oh.
And of course,
Okay.
Iowa,
I
so
guess-
it's all I states.
I guess I gotta join a lug if I'm gonna be taken seriously.
No, but
Apparently.
Apparently.
you will find you find lots of support, and of course, Brick Slopes, is out of the ULUG.
Okay.
I've met, there's several nice people. Cody's very nice. I like him a lot. I'm hoping to have him on the show at some point.
Okay.
I guess it's just it's a community of people that really do think the same and want the same things, and we're all, we tap into each other if we, are desperate for some brick. There can often be some borrowing done between.
So in other words, it's your drug suppliers, your fellow users.
It kind of be the opposite of AA, right? They want to keep you in the.
Amber has some comments on this. She says, Idaho lug is great. You're missing out, and join Idaho lug because we have cookies.
Sold. I'm in. Oh.
Amber, I think you've just increased your membership for Idaho lug.
Plus, we don't have dues. ULUG has dues.
Oh, do they?
Oh, there you go.
Not
Okay.
much. I think it's like 35 a year or something. It's pretty minimal.
Oh no, I'd have to go without McDonald's? I don't know.
2 meals.
No, I'm kidding. Huh. So Scott,
Yes.
I really wanted to ask you, since I consider you a professional, if among us we were to choose a professional Legoist, it would be you.
I'd go with that.
Okay. Okay, we all
It's
concur.
good sucking up. Okay. So
Okay. So one of the biggest problems I have is organizing. How? We have intruders.
hold on just a second.
Okay.
Scott's organization system, I will tell you, is top notch.
Okay.
He's
but just
Go
between you, Sam's, and me, he's not an electrical engineer.
No, I'm not.
Which is what are you, a structural engineer?
Mechanical.
They're the worst.
But I had to hire a lot of electricals, so.
Which means the job got done. No, I've struggled with an organizing technique, and I don't even know where to start. Like I keep getting, these multi bin. I don't know what these are called. Like I started using stuff like this.
Yeah.
But then just having these open and spread all over the place, they're really organized, but they're not.
Right. So my storage has, and yours will too. It evolves. It evolves over time. One of the things that I discovered early on with like what you're sorting with, or the classic Lego,
or like,
if you're thinking, the classic Lego, which you can't get these anymore. I wish they'd make more of them. Have these storage bins.
Oh, I love that.
The problem with these is when you have more brick than will hold.
Okay.
And in fact, Kevin Hinkle did a cartoon about it, how, he's sorting and he's putting them in, and then he has to resort them because he's got to put them in more containers, and we all hit that. And what I discovered a year ago are these, and they come in two flavors. Large.
Oh.
And
see, I knew asking the question would
not so large.
Okay.
So let's talk about why do I like these? Well, I like these because they have removable bins.
I like that.
Okay.
And then they have multiple sizes of bins. So you have the very smallest, kind of the medium, and the large in this type. And so you can mix and match. And so now this happens to be dedicated to my brick Idahos. So I try not to tap into this so that I always have a supply when I make my kits, because I make kits. And so for brick Idahos, I need to have this access. The nice thing is, if I get a lot more 1x2s, I can go to 2, or I could expand it into one more. It's easy to pour into one or another, or as I get something, I can go to the next size up. And I think it's also easier that if I need a part, I'm in the middle of making kits, by the way, so that's why I'm to another, and that's what she was coming in and talking about. So if you don't have a couple of these are really useful, because you can pour, as you put. But like if I was going to want to reorganize this, instead of having to try to pick them up, I can pour them into this, and then when I'm done, pour them and put them right back. So I really find this useful for my kit production and storing. And someday I'm going to build something, and there's a lot because it's got a nice lip. So you can build something where these can slide in. Now the big ones.
So the other question I have is,
they're standard. So the deeper ones, the big ones. So then the stuff that I need more brick of, that's what they're useful for. So
do you organize by type or color, or type and color?
Yes.
Yes to all three.
Yes.
So
or age, like new, used, really used.
I have pretty much purged all used brick. Because I do too much kit work.
Okay.
I've got to be able to know that if I go into something, it's new brick.
Okay.
Or it's only been assembled once, that kind of thing.
So like new, yeah.
Like new. So like white and red, because of this Danish thing I've got going, that's the one I've got the most separated. So I start with per element and color. And this is kind of my first primary storage for white is just this. Well, two of them. And then I go to, I'll have to make everybody sick with the camera.
Oh. Oh my. Oh, wow.
It's all those drawers, Joe. It really is all those drawers.
So now this, let's see if I'm getting it. So this would be my second layer of storage. So my second layer of storage is, like profile brick. I've got lots of different color of profile brick, different kinds. Like my dark gray, I don't have separated as much. So I tend to have small brick, long brick, plate. Gray, I just had to reorganize because it was out of control. But again, so I have any brick or plate that's under 4x6, every or under.
Okay.
That's 3. So 6 or 3. This is 4 to 6, and then 8 and above. So, but it's all by color.
Okay.
But you also get tons and tons of 1x2s. And I can't store them all in because I run into extra. So then this is 1x2s and corners, my favorite brick. All colors. Well, take that back. All primary Lego colors. I got the weird colors in a different place.
Okay.
So yeah,
right,
and it'll start like blue. I don't have very much blue, so I only have one bin, all my blue. It's all there.
Okay.
It all depends on, again, how much of something you've got is start to dictate. But I do find these useful because they're easy to remove.
Yeah, and Scott, that's kind of what I have, just an order of magnitude less than what you have.
One thing I just did that's kind of interesting. So what I did is I took a normal drawer, and you can't fit 2 of these. And that was kind of wasting space. So if you notice, I put some brick in there, and the brick is then taped to the side so that now this fits on top, and I can have storage underneath it. And this is, so now I can get some separation and some bulk underneath it too. So,
gotcha. It's
so
these mechanical engineers, guys.
Yes. And then I can't even show you the closet. The closet's even more full of that. And I've got a ton of, like if I have lots and lots of red brick. So I've got a total bin of red brick in my closet. So,
yeah.
So yeah,
check out his video for the studio tour on his YouTube channel.
Good plug.
Yeah, I gotta get over my every time I see Scott, I just get weirded out. I gotta get over that so I can. Sorry, Scott.
Well, and it's funny because
it's bad humor. I'm sorry.
I like to do events, right? And I like to build big or really small. So I look at like what you do, Joe, and I'm just in awe, because of the detail and what you put into it. So that's what I love about Lego is there's room for all of us, right? And I don't think I don't look at somebody doing what I do better. I say they might be doing it different. And so I don't know. That's the way I look at it. And I love your stuff, and I've learned a ton about the Saturn V from you. So
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
Whatever. I used you for technical references.
Well, again, you've studied it even harder than I have. So.
Oh. I wouldn't say study. I would say obsessed over it.
Isn't that kind of what studying is?
Yeah, sure.
Your instrument.
What was that?
Or practicing your instrument, Mr. B?
Yeah, no kidding.
I know we're getting close to the end, but I'll plug these books if you are interested in learning more about the Saturn V and Skylab. But the Haynes what is this? Haynes Owner's Manual for the Saturn V. Wonderful book. The same series for Skylab.
Yep.
Also an incredible book. And the same guy who did the Haynes Saturn V did this book, How Apollo Flew to the Moon. I thought I knew a lot about Apollo, Scott, and then I read through this book, and I'm like, great. Now I need to know more. But yeah, if you're tired of me yapping on about Apollo and how cool it is.
I just got the Haynes manual for the ISS, and it's fun. It's fun to read.
That's on my list. That's on my list of things I need to get.
I'd also like to get the one for the SR-71, but that's just more because and the 917 Porsche. That one I'd like.
The SR-71 I could get behind.
Yeah, yeah.
The Porsche, not so much.
So a couple things as we close up. One is I want to show I asked Mr. Chambers for a headshot, and this is one of the things he sent me. I did not use this on the official, but I think closing with that is appropriate.
And thank you to my brother-in-law Tom for making that for me.
I
just said, get Alan Bean's stupid face out of there.
There you go. Next week, I think I know who it's going to be, so I'll. But she hasn't totally confirmed, and Joe and Sam Bradford, you guys are probably interested and invited. It's going to hopefully be Leah Chan. Leah is an incredible space builder herself. I look at her stuff and again, am just totally blown away. She's got a whole launch pattern for the space shuttle that actually is automated and has lights and music and smoke and stuff. Anyway, very interesting. It could also be Dave, and I always have a hard time pronouncing his last name because it's all consonants and no vowels. And he is with Brothers Brick, and he is a great builder as well. And then hopefully Kevin Hinkle at some point, I will get him on. Sounds like I've got another one with Sam, Mr. Bradford. So have you on and talk more about what you've been doing. So again, thank you for joining. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you do, please like and subscribe to my channel. If you are interested in being on the stream, please contact me, and we will. There's room for up to 10 in the waiting room in the studio, but then we can add people in and out as it's appropriate. So again, thank you very much. And thank you, Mr. Chambers. It's always a pleasure. You're invited anytime that you would like to participate. I think you always
don't
have.
give me that.
Even though you're an electrical engineer.
Yes.
Oh, had to get one last dig in.
Of course, we'd be watching TVs by, or we would be watching our TVs by candlelight if we didn't have electrical engineers. So that's good. Anyway, I digress. I look forward to seeing you again next week.
See ya. Bye, everyone.
Bye.